Yes, it's another time to talk about sports business, and it's your time for you to join me on this special program. Thank you very much for always being there. This is Sports Exchange, where we talk about sports business. Judy Oladino is my name, and on today's show, we have some interesting news for you, as well as our dugout segment where we look at issues that shape the world of sports business. Just like I said, it is all about sports business, and today we'll be looking at sports as a tool or as a means of effecting social change. And before we get to that, anyway, I'll go on a short break, and when I return, I'll take the news before we get to the discussion segment. Don't go away yet.
Fantastically finished.
Welcome back, and straight to the news now. Creating a new direction and building grassroots sports in Nigeria into a globally acceptable brand are some of the issues discussed at a two-day hybrid summit held in Lagos. The Sports Business Summit, put together by Olisa Agbakuba Legal Sports, featured prominent players in the sports business industry. Our correspondent has more details.
Here in this hall are lawyers, business administrators, investors, coaches, and former football players. They are here to brainstorm on how Nigerian grassroots sports can attract global attention as well as become profitable for investors. Nigeria is ranked 5th highest exporter of football talent in the world and the biggest in Africa, according to the International Center for Sports Studies in Switzerland. Mutiu Adepoju, former Nigerian midfielder, says restructuring the architecture of Sports Foundation is necessary and if done will help to groom local talents.
That's the reason why we were talking about, I was talking about structure, about clubs having and all that. If players are being invited from the clubs, from the academies, those players will be competing week in, week out, even though they didn't qualify. And I mean, at the long run, we see them in their various clubs and in other national team too, with their ages.
In 2021, over 4.26 billion people were using digital media worldwide, a number projected to increase to almost 6 billion in 2027. Speaking on this development, stakeholders spoke on the impact in promoting sport via digital channels.
Digital media is very competitive because obviously you have, with digital you're competing not only against other players in Nigeria, but you're competing against sports brands and assets outside of Nigeria. It's really important that the content is this day and age, I think, is engaging, and by that I mean it needs to catch the user's attention very, very quickly in the first couple of seconds. It should be short, it should be interactive.
Beyond physical strength, sport is often seen as a means to improve mental stamina and develop fundamental social skills. However, experts have urged stakeholders to explore sport as a means of economic development.
Has our educational system evolved recently in Nigeria in line with new areas of business? When you go abroad, you see people studying basketball administrative management. You see people studying football business management. Do we have that here? If we don't, there lies the opportunity.
We're resonating on an international level also. So after Nigeria, our biggest markets is the US and Brazil, just to show that Nigerian traditional sport, especially Dambe, is already international. So for us, we're just continuing to build on that. Best social media content. We have some more TV content coming out very soon, and I'll be announcing that very soon. and we also have some more events planned over the course of this year.
In Nigeria, sport business development revenue is estimated to show an annual growth rate of 4.12% in 2023, resulting in a projected market value of $140 million by 2027. Sydney Okafor, TV360 News, Lagos.
Snooker and Pool Players Alliance of Nigeria is set to see Nigeria participate in our first Joy A-Ball Masters Division 1 tour, which holds in Lazhou, China from June 23 to July 3rd, 2023. The alliance, which promotes Q Sports in Nigeria and is an affiliate of the International A-Ball Pool Association, is working in collaboration with Joy Billiards Sports Promotion China to give talented pool players in the country a chance to compete with top-class players at the international events. Consequently, a qualifier tournament that will produce Nigeria's sole representative at the Asian event is scheduled to hold from June 5th to 11th, 2023 at Nikon Estate Recreation Center, Lekki. Nigeria had missed previous Joy A-Ball events due to unforeseen circumstances, but this particular event is a must as the host is offering the Nigeria representative an all-expense-paid trip to the Masters in China, which offers some mouth-watering cash prize to the eventual winner and consolation prizes to other participants. Kaduna State Executive Council under former Governor Nasir El-Rufai has approved the Kaduna State Sports Industry Development Policy. This makes Kaduna State the first subnational in the country to prioritize sports industrialization by domesticating the recently approved federal government National Sports Industry Policy. With this approval, the state is targeting an estimated $150 million over a 5-year period to address social and commercial opportunities, especially with the projected engagement of over 50,000 people across the sports value chain. Organizers of the Nigeria Professional Football League, the Interim Management Committee, in conjunction with the GTI and Propel Sports Africa, have secured a $5 million deal to stream the league matches on digital platforms from the 2023-2024 season. The NPFL announced that the innovation had been enabled by world's most advanced artificial intelligence, making the league the first in Africa to deploy the technology. The point of the innovation is NPFL Live, a dedicated streaming app that will allow fans to enjoy live matches and exclusive content with seamless user experience for the football enthusiasts in Nigeria and throughout the world. And finally, German football legend Lothar Matthäus is now a football club owner after buying Ghana Premier League side Accra Lions. He co-owns the club with business partners Oliver Koenig, a former German player agent, and former Ghanaian international Frank Achepong. Matthäus is keen to develop talent in West Africa and open up a route to Europe for young players. Founded in 2015 and are currently 9th in the Ghanaian top flight, the Accra Lions are valued at $2 million by Transfer Market, although details of the level of Matthäus' personal investment have not been disclosed. And that's it for the news. We'll go on a short break, and when we come back, it will be time for us to discuss Homeless World Cup, as the organizers are using football as a tool for social change. Don't go away yet.
Fantastically finished.
Welcome back. Of course, it's Sports Exchange, and we'll be talking about something very special now. You know that sport is a veritable tool for transformation, especially for transforming the society beyond the money, beyond being money spinning and the money moving around through the value chain. One of the power that sports has got is the fact that it can change situation and can change society. Okay, right now we will be talking about the Homeless World Cup. And I have the director, the country director of Homeless World Cup with me, Yomi Kuku. Yomi Kuku joins me on the Dugout segment today on the show. Yomi, it's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Yeah, thank you, Julie.
It's been very difficult to get you into the studio. I know you are trying to make things happen, and that is the reason why I have you in the studio today, to tell us about how far it's been. I remember back some years ago, that was en route to the Netherlands for the World Cup. I was one of those who were disappointed that Nigeria couldn't make it, and I don't think Nigeria's been able to feature in any after that, the Netherlands then.
Now, afterwards we traveled to Norway to participate. But for me, the major talking point is the shame around it that after like 15 years of being involved in the Homeless World Cup, it is still not something that attracts the public sector in Nigeria. Because virtually all, if not, this is more like a social intervention program. Mm-hmm. And you will agree with me that the way it's grown over the years in many other countries, even in Africa, like in Kenya, in Cote d'Ivoire, which is just next door here, and you still have the government, the private sector, and then the public sector, you know, putting in a lot. But shamefully, we don't have that in Nigeria, and you just keep doing the same thing over and over again, struggling for recognition, struggling for support. By now, it is something that should have been a huge part of social programs associated with sports in Nigeria. But we still don't have that. And shamefully, you will see that people at some point acknowledged this Homeless World Cup, found their way into government and the sports sector, and for reasons best known to them, which I reckon is more of pettiness, don't even look that way. And you try to like speak with them, but they're quite very deceitful, and they don't show commitment to it. So, well, maybe because I've been used to all this disappointment, and it doesn't really work me up like that. I just keep trying to make it happen for as much as I can. Doesn't
this speak to the kind of people we have running sports in the country, or the kind of people that the Nigerian society is made of? Because, like before we came into the studio, I was thinking that we should, this project is like looking ourselves in the mirror and telling ourselves the truth. Everywhere you go in Nigeria today, there is hardly any state you don't find IDPs. So this should be a project that is very dear to the heart of every single Nigerian. So, and we have a competition coming up. We have the Homeless World Cup that is coming on I'm just counting a number of days from now, and you're here. Still don't know what is going to happen to Nigeria.
Well, if you ask me, I think the problem is the people who are in sports and social development in this country. They refuse to accept the fact that there are people they need to partner with. There are people they need to work with. They surround themselves a lot of times with people who don't really have this expertise. People who see outsiders, or people who are doing their own thing in the private ways as competitors or as a threat to their influence inside the government itself. And those are some of the things that I found out about how the sports sector works. Otherwise, we will not be where we are, because there are quite a number of ideas, not just even the Homeless World Cup, all over the place, with global affiliations, with global support networks that Nigeria can actually easily benefit from. Go around all the sports. It's all over. It's not just the Homeless World Cup. But when these folks get into the public sector itself to become decision makers, they begin to run their own personal agenda. And shamefully, these are the guys, when they get thrown out eventually, you now see them trying to pontificate and, trying to find an explanation for their failure. But for some of us, we see them like they're not people that we should take seriously. Because, the Homeless World Cup is something that has really gone very deep. You know how the homelessness is defined, all across from sofa to sofa. You're an orphanage,
slums,
drug abuse, addiction, gambling.
Different.
And fortunately, this movement is across more than 90 countries. And each country, they rely a lot on some expertise that they've got. Like in the UK, for instance, you have, in England, for instance, their homelessness is more of people on the streets and with addiction. Okay. In Scotland, more of alcohol addiction, gambling addiction and all that. In Norway, in Scandinavia generally, yeah, you find people sleeping on the street, but not that much as the problem with alcohol addiction. Okay. And they've got expertise in all this. And these are countries that we can align with, that can support and, give a lot to what we're currently going through now. I'm sure you go on the internet, you see what is going on with young people in Nigeria. That's it. The way they are battling drug addictions. There's one thing they call now colos, or what? Yeah,
colos.
Yeah, colos. We've got, I don't have the expertise, but we have partner countries who can actually support in these areas. Counseling, treatment and all that. And all it takes is for us to align with this, and we can use our own platform to mediate, and then see how that can bear on the system in Nigeria. That's what I'm here for. And either we like it or not, all this influence that is availing us in this network, I cannot appropriate all to myself. I can only take one out of the thousands. And so when you keep blocking me, or you think you're trying to make me inaccessible to decision makers and policy makers in this state or this country, you're only ruining the lives of people who are supposed to be. I'm not a drug addict. I don't gamble either. And at this point, I'm not homeless. But I know that there are people who deserve this opportunity. And I also know that with the work we've done over the years, for up to 20 years now in Nigeria, we've been able to impact on people. We have imparted knowledge as well, and opportunities for people. But what we see is that it is really very micro. That's it. It's so small. And for me, it's not something, that's not what I wish. It's not my vision. And it's not what I think should be obtainable here. And it's the reason we keep trying to liaise, trying to reach out to policymakers, like even governors of states, parastatals and all that. So the real problem, like I said, is from the sports and social development sector itself. Okay. It's populated by people that are not sincere, that are not connected to their conscience. Yes. And this was exactly what I mentioned when I met Governor Sanwo-Olu. Then he was campaigning in 2019. Okay. And what my impression then, and up till now, because I still think that he's committed to it. Okay. Because at some point, they actually gave his personal contact and all that. But unfortunately, we've not been able to connect since that, and that has been 4 years. Okay. I'm not the one losing. The young people are the ones losing. Wow. And the opportunities that is availing, very huge, and you're depriving them. And not because the man who is the governor is not interested. It is because people who are in charge of this sector don't find value. They cannot find value in what we do. And that is a tragedy.
Wow. Actually, finally, because of time, I just want us to, before we go, I know that you are putting together a team for the Homeless World Cup in the US,
in
Sacramento. So yes. What is the stage now, quickly, before we go?
Well, we've tried to reach out to people, and we have a team already. We developed a strategy to bring in personalities. One of them is Daniel Amokachi, who is now an ambassador for the program in Nigeria. And also one of them is also Dr. Fuad Oki, who is a patron. FA and and is a patron for us. And then we're hoping that we can connect these two huge dots to connect with other people and then from then they can now see this big vision that will be able to support and help people. So we're working on reaching out. We're still doing a lot, and then the players are getting ready as I speak. We're preparing our team. We've got players also from Kaduna State, for instance, through the intervention of Daniel Amokachi. Yeah, so yeah, we're making progress. Yeah, but the only thing, like I said, is just that you expect something to be much bigger. It doesn't mean that we're not doing anything or we're like stocked. No, we're not stocked.
All right.
Yes, we're only thinking that let Nigerian youths benefit more from this program as it is. All right,
that's it for that's the country director, Homeless World Cup, Yomi Kuku, and as usual, we will continue to hammer on the show, because like I said, sport is that tool to change, to cause a paradigm shift, as well as changing situations in society, and that's what they are doing. Yomi, thank you very much for coming.
It's my pleasure to be here.
And that's it for the segment. We'll go on a break, and when we return, it will be time for us to say our bye-byes.
Fantastically finished.
And that's how we wrap up the business side of sports on the show today. Thanks for joining me, and keep it with me next time. Till I come your way, I am yours truly today, tomorrow, and of the future in sports, Gidi Olaniran. It's bye-bye for now.